Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Tashika. I teach women how to manage money and ditch debt so they can build wealth without the stress. Today I'm going to be talking about my first experience with a timeshare presentation and how you should avoid them at all costs if you are not willing or don't know how to be firm and say no. So I was invited to attend a timeshare presentation. I checked into my hotel and went to the concierge desk. And they said, hey, do you want to attend a free presentation in exchange for, I think it was something like $250 or 40,000 points. Me, I'm thinking, I'd love to get 40,000 points because, I do have an anniversary coming up and I can use that free points to get a nice little room. So I had never attended a timeshare presentation, but let me tell you, this was an interesting experience. So I go into the little center where they had the presentation, and they assigned me with a representative. So this is the person who is going to come and get to know a little bit more about you, understand kind of your vacation style, what you like, how much you spend on vacations, all the not. They're essentially trying to get more information about you to use it as part of their sales tactic. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. So I go in there, the salesman comes to me, we have a little chit chat, we go into the presentation. I watched a 20-minute presentation and then they take us over to where we're going to actually see the different options within this timeshare. So we're sitting down and I'm very transparent with him. I'm like, this is all nice and great, but what's the numbers? Let me see the bottom line. What are we looking at here? So he's avoiding the cost at all costs, not trying to tell me how much it's gonna cost. I'm like, okay, I'm still listening. He goes through, shows me the benefits of the package, how the cost that I spend for a vacation per year, what that looks like if I were to do the same thing for 20 years. So he's breaking down these numbers, and I'm a numbers person. The first thing that I did was I want to see, is this really even worth my time and energy and money to even be looking into this? So number one, he analyzes kind of how much I spend on average in my own vacations per year with my family. He plugs it into his little system and says, hey, do you think that you'll be spending this amount of money per year for the next 20 years or so? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll be going on a vacation every year for the next 20 years. Who knows? I can't predict the next 20 years. Plugged in his little numbers. So it comes out to about $40,000 on hotel rooms over the next 20 years. So after we get all this information, he then takes me up to the rooms. We're looking at the suites of what the examples would look like, a studio versus a 1-bedroom versus a 3-bedroom. Showing all the features. They have washer and dryer. I mean, this suite is beautiful. I'm in there. I'm like, okay, I can see myself in here. I can see my kids, my husband. This is great. I like it, He's trying to razzle and dazzle me. I'm playing along. I'm like, oh, this is great. Yeah, I can have my family come. This is going to be, it's nice. So we go out, I'm asking him some more questions about the availability of the timeshare and how we can use it for different locations, and what if we have last minute trips that we want to take, all that jazz. So we proceed back downstairs. So we're going to run the numbers and we're looking at how much, based on, again, going back to my numbers of what I previously spent on my vacations. He then presents his offer. So he has two options. Option one, you get 11,000, a little over 11,000 points at a monthly cost of $1,135 a month. Option two, you get 7,650 points at a monthly fee of $777 a month. Further down the page, you see today's deposit is $8,000, think like $8,500. So he says, so based on these two things, which one would you be leaning more towards? And I said, none of them. And he kind of looks back. So what do you mean? What is it about? I'm like, well, number one, I'm not dropping $8,000 today. So here are the problems that I have with the offer that he presented to me. Number one, for 7,650 points, the cost would be about $38,000 for 5 years. They were asking for an $8,500 deposit. Now, if you remember, if I were to spend what I'd previously be spending for 20 years, over 20 years, it would cost me about $40,000. But they want me to lock in at $38,000 for 5 years. The math is not mathing. Problem number two that I have with this offer, this assumes that my family will take a vacation a year for the next 5 years. So I asked, is this a use it or lose it kind of situation? Oh, if my family doesn't take a vacation every single year, what happens? And he said, no, you're not going to lose it. And then he proceeds to talk out of the other side of his mouth and say, you can roll it over to the next year, but it'll expire after 2 years. So it is a use it or lose it type situation. Problem number 3 that I have is that they said at the beginning, we're here to present you with the information. You can decide yes or no whether you want to come in. There will be no pressure in trying to get you to purchase this package. So then why did it take me 3 times in clearly saying no for you to understand that I am walking out of here without purchasing anything? I just came here for my 40,000 points. That's all I wanted. I entertained your little sales pitch, but I just want my points. So why did it take me 3 times to say no for you to actually just understand that I'm not buying anything? I did some research and kind of looking at understanding timeshares and what are some of the common pitfalls of timeshares, why people get sucked into them, and what you can do to avoid getting into a situation where it's unlikely that you'll be able to get out of. So one of the things that I found is that timeshares can be very costly. It's not just the fees that you're paying for the hotels that you're going to be staying in. It's also the fees for what they call as their maintenance fees. There are fees associated with upkeeping and maintaining these properties that you as an owner will have to pay because of the real estate taxes and kind of maintenance fees. The other thing is the lack of flexibility. You have to think about it. They're asking people to commit to a 5-year span when no one really knows and understands what's going to happen within 5 years. You could lose your job the day after signing this timeshare. And then what? Personally, I have a 5-year budget. For my fixed expenses, I know that they're going to remain the same. My mortgages, my utilities are going to remain about flexible, about the same. So I can plan and know for those things how much I'm going to spend on average. So it gives me an idea. And a lot of people, when they're get into these situations and they're trapped and feeling like, oh, that pressure to buy because they sat through this presentation, this person spent their time with you, so you're feeling all kinds of way that maybe I should just buy into it. You really have to go in there with a plan and understanding of your own financial situation and whether or not this will fit into your financial situation. And I think that's the problem that gets a lot of people hooked into these timeshares and then regretting them later. The last thing that I found in my research is that it is very difficult for you to cancel these policies. So that was one of my questions. I said, so say I purchased this, I used it for a year, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not feeling this. What are my options? Oh, well, you can sell it. To who? Like, who am I selling this to? So I'm gonna have to find someone to purchase and take over these $700 a month payments so that I can get out of this timeshare. Does that sound like a good deal to you? No. And that's what I found when I was doing my research, is that a lot of people will get into this, they want to cancel, but it's almost near impossible for them to cancel their timeshare. Now, I know there are companies out there that will help you get rid of your timeshares and things, but as an individual trying to get out of something like that, you don't want to deal with that headache. So what I would recommend is for you to do your research before going into any of these timeshare presentations. And please don't let these salespeople strong arm you into making a decision that you do not want to make. Because as you can see, they can be costly, they're not flexible, you don't know what your situation is going to be within 5 years. So buying into this now with this idea that, oh, it's going to be nice, he's going to save me money, and then realizing it can be a real costly time suck and energy for you to have to deal with something that's just not really worth it. But at the end of the day, it's so important for you to make sure that you have a plan for your money, because the one thing for me going in there is I was very clear on the fact that I just came for the 40,000 points. Sell all you want to sell. I just want the points. I knew what my financial numbers were. I knew what my budget was. And so no matter what this individual said to me, it was not going to move me from going against my plan. That's why it's so important for you to have a plan for your money. Because when you have a plan for your money, no one can dangle any of those little shiny objects in front of you and make you move from your true north. Stay safe out there, guys. Avoid these timeshares like the plague, okay? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.